What is going on? Hopefully, let's see if that's feeding through. It seems to be going live. And hey, very nice. We're here. I am in a different location, and I'm not where I was going to do a different green screen background, and I didn't. Actually, I want to do a quick test before we get into it. We got 5 minutes until we actually are joined by Jerry Agar on News Talk 1010. The numbers to call into the studio if you want to be on the air with Jerry, or if you want to text in your questions, you can do that. But give me just a moment here. We're a little ahead of the game. I think we are. Did I press? Yeah, I did. I pressed everything I need to press. Okay, we're just getting settled in as we're we're actually technically right on time. That doesn't stop me from wanting to check the audio. Hopefully, I don't want to break anything. How do I not break anything? Oh, we're going to see what happens. Okay. Hopefully this works. It's nothing as good as just totally winging it. Yes. So I want to do. Boom. I'm checking my own audio because I don't feel as confident knowing. Here we go. Is it quiet? Is it too quiet? Maybe I should bump it up a bit. Sounds a bit low. That's what I thought. Okay, we're pushing it up. Let me know if this is better. It should be better. Hopefully, it's as loud as it goes. It's a different mixer, so I can boost it in other ways. But Angela caught the same thing. More. Okay, we'll go. Let's go here. 10% up. Well, maybe it's going to be. We got a lot of technology going here. Microphone levels. Okay. Let me know. This is. I think this is as loud as we can go. Is Angela said? Okay, now we're good. Good. We're. I got to save these settings for next time. Now I can turn the volume down on my phone. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that we were coming through well. Good morning to everybody. Good. Okay. George says he can hear me goof now. Hopefully I don't goof. Okay. What are we doing? So just for anyone who's tuning in and going, is why is this not looking like it normally looks? It looks different because I'm not in my normal place, and I am also getting ready to go live with Jerry Agar on News Talk 1010. We're waiting for the producers to jump into the room, and then we'll be able to go live on News Talk 1010, talking about a whole bunch of stuff. I'm really looking forward to it. Let's see here. This is the old device, Angela, not the new device. New device is at the studio, and this is my portable kit. Yeah. So we're doing things. We're making it happen. What is it? You got to zig and zag appropriately. Good morning to John getting slapped by legal. Oh, here's News Talk 1010 to check out what's going on. Good morning. Can you hear me okay? I'm not hearing them. That may be because they're not ready to talk to me. Good morning. Can you just check your mic? I want to just make sure I'm getting. Okay, perfect. Take your time. No stress. Just stressing. We're on a remote location. I want to make sure we're good to go.
Hey, Sean, just checking in here.
Perfect. I hear you and you hear me, so we're magic.
Yeah, sounds good. I just had to boost you a bit, but I've got you now.
Perfect. Okay, thanks very much. And ready to go whenever you are. And we'll just chat with the folks here until you are ready to go. Okay. John says he's glad to be back, but he's been missing in action the last week as university got hectic. But we're back and ready to go, my friend. Well, very good. Okay, so if they were loud, I will bring their level down a bit. Thank you for the feedback. I have the best folks in the world watching and helping and contributing as viewers, and you guys rock. Okay. Let's see here.
60 seconds, stand by.
Thank you. So you got a little behind the scenes of what happens when someone guests on the radio, sort of, kind of, usually. Does it look like this all the time? No, I guess it really is different. JD is in the background. He is helping to take your questions. And Angela, you are much appreciated. Thank you for your helping. You are not just trying to help, but you are helping. 60 seconds. So the deal is that we're going live with Jerry Agar on News Talk 10, talking about stuff and things. We're talking specifically about traffic and police stuff. We've got a few things that are new in the media. We're talking about the video that was on our account last night. That's over 200,000 views already, talking about stunt driving. So that's cool. What else are we going to talk about? Well, we'll see what Jerry has to say. But if there are people who are going to be calling in, and they will be, asking their questions live, and of course, you will have questions. So if you have questions that you want me to discuss on air, should Jerry ask for something from TikTok, let me know. Throw it in there, and we'll put it up on screen, and we'll go for it. Let's see here. There's Noam. Noam, what do you have? I know it's not Noam. It's Noam. I got it. I know a Noam, but I'm never going to pronounce it right now that I'm overthinking it. All right. I got your question flagged. Question. Okay.
Well, there's no end of questions people might have about traffic laws, and it can involve pedestrians as well, because my bugaboo is that a great number of people in the city of Toronto don't actually understand the signs as to when to enter the intersection as a pedestrian and when not to. And I'm sorely tempted to just run some of them over, but I haven't done that yet. This is pointed out to me that it's illegal. So we answer as many of your traffic questions as we can by dipping into a daily show that the Toronto Police run, Toronto Police Traffic Services on TikTok. It's run by Constable Sean Shapiro at Traffic Services. I call him the TikTok traffic cop. Good morning.
Good morning.
Just confirming, it would be illegal for me to run over those people, right?
We strongly suggest against doing it because, criminal charges could happen.
It probably would happen. So, yes. Okay, so let's talk about something. A video that you've addressed has over 200,000 views. And why don't you describe the situation?
So it's got a vehicle that's approaching in a left turn lane. They're approaching a red light that turns green. And before traffic has an opportunity to accelerate in the opposite direction, this driver decides to make a left turn in front of opposing traffic. Now, as the vehicle is turning in front of traffic, traffic's entering the intersection. So it's not something where you could say that, well, there was a lot of time and they thought it was safe. This is just after light changes, they hit the gas and go. We call it
And he didn't have the left turn arrow.
There was no left turn arrow. No.
Yeah.
So
all right. A jackrabbit kind of start, I think that's called.
Exactly what I call it, and it's what it's commonly referred to. But it qualifies for the charge of stunt driving in terms of the Highway Traffic Act, which means that it's the same as doing 50 kilometers over the speed limit. You're looking at a 14-day vehicle impound, a 30-day suspension, and up to 6 months in jail. And that's just the roadside. The 14-day impound and the 30-day suspension is immediate. But when you go to court, if you're convicted, you're looking at a 1 to 3 year driving suspension. You're looking at a $2,000 to $10,000 fine and up to 6 months in jail.
Okay, so this is a guy who decides I'm going to be hyper alert to when the light changes. And before everybody else reacts, because not everybody else is trying to come out of the blocks like a drag racer, I'll pull into the intersection and turn left, and they'll see me, and I'll be okay, and I'll just get through. Stunt driving, that's not going to go over well with a judge.
It doesn't go over well in the courts. It really doesn't go over well with your insurance company. And people just spend a lot of money defending it in court. And the easiest thing to do is not get charged by not breaking the law.
Okay, but somebody... Sean, there's almost a follow-up question here by a person who wrote in and said, I've had instances when turning that the oncoming driver is clearly looking down at their phone, and this person puts in brackets, or their crotch or something. I give them 3 Mississippis, and they haven't flinched, so I make the turn. Who would get a ticket in that case?
Well, here's the big thing. It depends on what the officer's going to see and what their observations are. Because if they don't see the person on the phone, you are looking at a potential stunt driving charge. Now, the act says immediately, either immediately before or after the light changes. So it's intended to be instantaneous. It's not supposed to be 3, 4, 5 seconds. There's going to be a point where it becomes reasonable. The person's obviously not moving, but you are taking a risk. Now, in the video that we played, it looks like there is a TTC bus to the right of that driver who isn't necessarily pulling off the light immediately, and it might be because he's yielding to the bus, which is required by law. So just another reason why a couple of seconds of patience could go a long way, not only to be safe, but to avoid potential of being charged.
Yeah. A good thing to keep in mind when you're in traffic is that it's not always about you. Like maybe go ahead.
I was going to say, the roads are a community space, and we have to figure out a way to get along together without causing collisions or hitting pedestrians, which is also a collision. But we want to make sure everyone gets home safe, and if we can avoid having you get a ticket, that's great.
All right, here is Greg from Pickering. Greg, what's your question for Sean?
Are truckers allowed to use their CB radios while driving? Is that considered like handheld driving or distracted driving?
I'm sorry, we're talking about radios or two-way radios?
Yeah, the CB radios in like a commercial truck, tractor trailer.
The Breaker Good Buddy stuff.
Yeah, well, there's no
Yeah.
exception. The only time that somebody can actually use a two-way radio is if they're a police, fire, ambulance, or if they are covered by an amateur radio operator. So right now, a CB radio is a handheld communication device, and there's no exemption. You could use a remote PTT and a speaker mic as opposed to a handheld mic.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Greg. The phone numbers here are 416-872-1010, 416-872-1010, toll free, 877-518-5151, 518-5151. And you can text us at 71010. You can listen to Sean actually every day. Actually, normally you start at 10. Is that right?
Normally it's 10. We go 30 minutes early so we don't take away from our regular viewers and still have time to focus on you and your audience.
Okay, appreciate that. It's at Traffic Services on TikTok. This is just a funny text that somebody sent in. My grandmother was only in 2 accidents in her entire life. In both cases, it was between her and her neighbor directly across the street as they backed out and rear-ended each other.
Well, that sounds unfortunate.
It sounds like something you'd put in a movie. Grandma just backed into the neighbor again.
Yeah, and I will tell you that I back into my driveway every single day. I back into parking spots, and it's for that reason, because backing into a road is generally considered dangerous. And obviously, for this gentleman or person's grandmother, it was.
Okay, so we're coming out of winter season, but this is still a good question to ask. Is it illegal to pass a snowplow if you pass them on the left as you would pass another vehicle?
So right now, there's no law preventing it, but we obviously very heavily endorse the concept of not passing a snowplow because it's dangerous. Now, it could be, depending on how it's done, it could be careless driving, but there's no specific thou shalt not pass a snowplow and get a ticket for that. It's my understanding they're working to change that, though.
Okay, so, whenever it's happened to me, I was happy to be behind the snowplow.
Well, it can be very frustrating when you're stuck going very slowly for a long period of time. But what's on the other side of that snowplow is unplowed snow, so it's more dangerous, and it may also be unsalted. So the goal is to let the snowplows do the work to make the roads safer for everybody, including you, who's right behind them.
All right. Now, this morning when I was promoting on the morning show, Sean, that you and I were going to talk, John Moore, host of the morning show on News Talk 1010, said he has a question. And I just said, well, I'll just play you asking it. Here it is.
On my street corner there at Yonge Street, it's one lane in each direction.
Right.
And so people are backed up at a stoplight, but people want to turn on a side street, will drive the wrong way if there is no oncoming traffic in order to execute their turn. How much of a violation is that?
So it's interesting. If it causes a collision, you're going to be obviously on the hook. There's nothing that says you can't be on that side of the road. Now, there is a provision under stunt, so I'm working this through live for you. There's no drive on wrong side of road. Drive opposite the one-way, there is a charge. And there is something about drive, and I'm going to pull it up for you, something about driving that could qualify for stunt. So it's going to come down to what the officer perceives as happening. It's obviously not something they should be doing. But let's circle back to that. I'm going to pull it up, and I don't want to hold people up while I'm looking it up.
All right, we'll come back to that question. So here is John from Milton. John, what's your question?
Very quickly, 2 questions. Follow up from a few weeks ago where you talked about people covering up their VIN numbers so people couldn't replicate keys, and you said, no, that's against the law. I just want to know what Highway Traffic Act you would charge me under for that. Second question is, I live in Milton now, and there's a lot of bicycle lanes, and when I come to a 4-way stop, am I supposed to be turning from the far left lane, or can I creep into the bicycle lane to turn right? Thank you.
Okay, I'm really glad you brought up the VIN number because I wanted to circle back on that for a while. So there is no HTA charge. And it was a commercial break when someone had told me that there was something that I had said incorrectly, and we adjusted it when we came back from commercial break. The deal is that manufacturers, and there's a federal legislation that requires you to have a VIN number that is visible. and unobstructed, that's really for a manufacturer. There's nothing under law that I can find that would prevent you from covering it up. So that's why so many people, and police included, suggest covering it up to prevent theft. But it's not something that we want to give sweeping direction to. If you do it, there's no charge that I'm aware of to lay.
All right. So we have two things we're going to follow up on when we come back, and that's John Moore's question about going into the oncoming lane if there's nobody coming in order to nip into a cross street or something, and whether or not you can ease into a bike lane if there's no bicycles coming in order to make a right-hand turn onto the other street. So we'll follow up on those and take your calls as well as we continue with Sean Shapiro on the iHeartRadio Talk Network.
Okay, now
it's 9:45. News Talk 1010 time saver traffic.
News Talk, we can figure out this microphone issue because I understand I'm still coming in low. YouTube and everybody else, Chase and Angela, were talking about my mic levels. How am I coming through right now? Because when I checked on TikTok, it was coming through nicely. Let me just turn it up and see what's going on. Yeah, left of center. That's right. That was the old charge, and it's gone now. Okay, so Chase, how am I sounding? Because it is low. I'm maxed out on the boost. The other, maybe we got used to just having me sound better. I can't go any louder. I can only boost it electronically. That's as loud as she goes. Let's see here. I can go I can go to 125 here. This is boosting it inside the server. And volume is correct at our end, just some mic crackling. Yeah, not sure what's going on. Just boosted a bit. Hope doesn't cause issues. He sounds like a little mouse. Really? It sounds bad? Okay. Okay. Let's asking there. All right. Okay, we'll talk about this. Taillights. See, it sounds okay on TikTok. Let me see what's going on YouTube. I imagine YouTube will be okay too. YouTube. Here we go. Jerry says too loud. Oh, Jerry's too loud. No, I got Jerry. I can lower Jerry. That's okay. I got control of what comes out on that side. Seems okay. So I will just try and project more. Maybe I should just be louder. Anyway, I'm making work for everybody today. Yeah, this was an unplanned change of location, so I apologize to all, but I appreciate everyone coming in. If you're listening, this is Ask a Traffic Cop, and I am Sean Shapiro, the TikTok Traffic Cop, because Jerry said so. Yeah, he's the one who started this whole TikTok Traffic Cop thing. I never thought of making names for myself. And what else is this? I got Angela, I can't make it any louder. It's as loud as she goes, but I'm going to try and make myself louder, so maybe that'll do it. I hope everybody on Instagram is able to hear me okay, because we really aren't testing the volume there. But I was told earlier it was pretty good, so I'm taking everyone's word for it. Let's see here. Other than the critics, what's going on? Let me just check into what is going on. I don't actually see any live chat here. Let's see what's happening. So for whatever reason, the live chat isn't coming through the web portal, so I can't actually see the chat on TikTok. Maybe I'll chop over and go into another account. Standing by.
I just want to take a moment to clear.
Different person, different thing. Oh, yeah. Come on. I don't want to look at anyone else's stuff. All right. Yeah, I can see everybody. I can hear you. Good, Sean. Good. Thank you very much. I'm glad that so some folks can hear us just fine. All right. But whatever, the web interface is not cooperating. Multiple browsers, doing it all on one machine. Usually I have two machines. It's all going well. Will disobey sign affect my insurance? Yeah. Disobey sign has demerit points involved. But any conviction, any charge against you under the HTA is going to cause or could give cause for the insurance company to be unhappy with you. So There you go. It's all up to them, private company, making determinations on their own investigations and evaluations, because they're looking at your stuff. They're determining risk based on the driving activity. All right. Start yelling at us, Chase says. I don't want to yell at anybody. All right.
Coming up 30 seconds.
Thank you. Okay, what is this? Tinted, we talked about that. I'm just flagging a couple of questions. All right. If you are watching and you don't know who I am, my name is Sean Shapiro, and I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service, about to go back with Jerry Agar on News Talk 1010 to answer traffic and police questions live on News Talk 1010. So join us here, there, and everywhere. Follow us and tap that screen if you're on TikTok so others know what's going on. Okay, I can tap my own screen. I'm liking my own video. Is that weird? I'm on the VoiceOver Cop account. Just saying. Okay. By the way, VoiceOver Cop, my personal account.
Good to have you along, and good to be with Constable Sean Shapiro, Toronto Police Traffic Services. He does the show every day on TikTok answering traffic questions, and so we take the opportunity to dip in and answer questions. And Sean, before we took the break, the guy had asked two questions, actually, and we didn't have time to get to the second one. So the second one was, I want to make a right-hand turn onto a street, and as he approaches and he sees there's no bikes coming either direction in the bike lane, can he, I think he said, ease into the bike lane to facilitate making the turn?
So the deal is with bike lane is it depends on the bike lane. Some of them have hash marks as you approach the intersection, and that means you can pinch the curb, which is the right thing to do. Then cyclists can then pass you on the left. Others are cycle tracks, and they have a solid line, and even sometimes barricades or painted markers that do not allow you to enter. And in that case, you have to actually yield to the cyclists in that lane. You can't cut them off or drive over them. That's bad. So it really depends on the intersection, and sadly, they're all designed differently, and they're consistently inconsistent.
And that's the problem. I mean, I get it with the barriers. I'm not going to try and get my car over top of the concrete barrier. That would be stupid, but and futile. But if there are different markings, and you can explain it on here every week, Sean, and people will still, including me, be, well, I don't know what the law is on this bike lane. People are frustrated enough in that area of traffic.
Yeah, it is confusing even for us. We're constantly being sent pictures saying, what do we do here? And then we have to phone a friend because we don't even know. And I say we being the people that I work with in my immediate office, because it is so confusing and so inconsistent that it's a problem. Now, I know they're working to change things. They're changing and updating them to be safer. But in the way it sits right now, it's not so good.
Just imagine the cop pulls me over and I roll the window down and I say, "What's the problem, officer?" And the officer says, "Well, just a minute, I have to phone a friend."
I'm not sure. I know there's something wrong here, but I can't quite put my finger on it.
You look shifty, but I've got to call Sean and see what the deal is. All right, so let's replay here the question that John Moore had and get your answer to that.
On my street corner there at Yonge Street, it's one lane in each direction.
All right.
And so people are backed up at a stoplight, but people want to turn on a side street will drive the wrong way if there is no oncoming traffic in order to execute their turn. How much of a violation is that?
So to recap, there used to be something called drive left of center, and it's a charge that was magical and is no longer available. So could it be careless driving? Absolutely. Could it be stunt driving? Possibly, because I'm looking at the stunt qualifications, and one of them says drive in oncoming traffic portion of highway, which is on any road. So it depends on the observations. It depends on what the interpretation is. And obviously, it depends if there's a collision that ultimately results in it. It's not a practice that I would endorse. I would suggest absolutely not doing that and developing some level of patience. It's going to take a minute or so longer.
All right. Here is Cynthia from Milton. Cynthia, what's your question?
Good morning. My question is, in Burlington, there's Brant Street, which goes north and crosses Dundas Street. And I think at that point it might turn into Cedar Springs Road. So when you're coming south from the north, you're coming south down the escarpment, the one lane of traffic that's going south at the lights, it then turns into Brant Street, and it's two lanes going south. So when you're going from the one lane to the two lane, can you turn into either the right hand or the left hand lane, or do you have to do you go to the right hand lane? I'm very confused. Each time I hit that intersection, I'm not sure what you're supposed to do.
You bring up a very good question, and I honestly don't have a law-based answer. I have a similar street near where I live that does exactly the same
Okay.
thing, and I stay to the one that is closest to where I am. So if I draw a straight line, it looks like it's the one to the center line. And
Yeah, it doesn't work out for that intersection, though.
I get you. It's going to be whatever you can do as cyclist. I would avoid making major changes of direction in the middle of an intersection.
All right. Thank you for that question. Motorcycles are reemerging on the roads. You have some reminders for motorcycle safety?
Well, there's a couple of things. It's both for motorcyclists and for drivers. One, drivers, hey, wake up! It's spring, and there's going to be motorcycles on the road, and people seem to forget every year that they exist, but they're back. And for motorcycles or those riding them, the roads are still filthy. They haven't properly been cleaned. We just finished with some snow melting. That means there's salt debris. I wouldn't be in a rush to get back on the road with your bike. Not only would you be adding stuff that will help corrode the nice shiny chrome, but you may have issues with traction, and you are dealing with motorists who are, just slowly waking up to the concept that bikes are bad.
Well, good news for the bike riders. Bad news that it's raining so much because it's hard to get out on the bike. But the good news is the rain does clean that crap off the road.
Absolutely. But in any event, be very, very careful when you're, be careful always on a motorcycle. But this transition period where they're emerging is time when we see some heightened collisions.
Yeah, I haven't been on the bike since it was 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon, I think. Here is Michael from Whitby. What's your question?
Okay, sir. I drive a film-related vehicle downtown, and we have an intersection near one of the studios where to make a left-hand turn with a trailer that has an extended swing on the back end, we have to block the left turn lane and the right lane at the street to make a turn into a one-way south to get down towards the lakeshore. I technically know I'm not supposed to block the right lane when I'm making a left, but if I don't, when the vehicle turns, the back end will take out whatever's beside it. There's about a 15-foot overhang on this unit, and it will swing a full lane. And I can't go into the lane normally in the left and then just turn, because then it takes up 2 lanes turning south. And if there's cars there, I can't do it. What is your thoughts on that?
With the picture you're painting, and I don't know. I mean, obviously, this is a vehicle that's licensed for the road, that you're good to go. But this sounds like something that, in very certain conditions, you're a hazard. If it causes a collision, you're likely going to hold you responsible for it. And it makes sense.
Yeah, but I'm asking. Yeah, I'm asking about traffic laws, because if I do not block the right side of the road, so people will not go beside me, because there will be an impact. There's no other way about it.
2 lanes?
Yeah, I'm like I was first at the light. I could see where I've got to go, so I positioned the back end of it in the left a bit, and the right lane completely blocked, so nobody can beside me, because I know it's going to swing. And people are, and the light is red when I come to it.
Sorry to cut you off, but people might be upset with you, but you're doing what's reasonable to ensure that they're safe. So I don't think.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, could you do me a favor, Michael?
Yes, sir.
Okay, if you're in the film business and you're a driver, could you pass along to the drivers who move the stars back and forth that just because you have a person you think is an important and a star in the back seat of your car doesn't mean you can park in a moving lane of traffic and go in to get Timmy's for Mrs. Frou-Frou, whoever she is, that's the star of some TV show shooting in Toronto. Could you pass that along, please?
I could, but I'm just a driver, and I don't move those people, and I try not to do what you're saying, because it's illegal.
Yeah.
Even if the star wants to go, you find somewhere to get it safely.
All right. And, thanks very much. Okay.
Hey, no problem.
Yeah. Sean, I'm pleased that Toronto gets as much of that business as it does the entertainment business. And I hope for the studios to do well. And there may be a new one in the general vicinity coming up. And all of that business is good. It's good economic activity. But there's that small segment of divas that, they're the same problem in traffic as some other people, I guess.
There's a lot of entitlement. A lot of the issues that we see on the road are based on the me. I'm more important.
Yeah.
To go somewhere, get out of my way kind of mentality. And unfortunately, that's what leads to serious collisions, but causes people to get tickets because they're just doing whatever they want, not respecting others.
All right. Well, Sean's going to continue on TikTok. At Traffic Services is where you find him answering your question. And in a couple of weeks, he'll come back on with us. Sean, good to have you. Thanks very much.
Always a pleasure. Take care.
Yep. And so upcoming is...
Okay, I got rid of him. Okay, where is my audio now? because I want to make sure that we are good to go. And if we are not good to go, I want to fix it so we can be as good as we can be. Chase, Angela, for those who are vocal about my audio levels, are we good? Are we happy? Because as long as we're happy, we're moving along. And I'm going to change my graphics because I no longer need to see Jerry because he's no longer connected to us. Okay. This is kind of chill, and we never got to deal with the questions that I flagged. I got a bunch of them. Let's start with Noam, who says, if I cross a traffic light when it's yellow and it turns red while I'm in the intersection, is it bad? So technically, yellow means stop unless it's unsafe to do so. So if you're traveling and you could have stopped, you should have stopped. Entering an intersection on yellow is really when you're past that point of no return. So that's first things first. But if you enter an intersection legally, then if it changes, you are not running the red, you entered legally on a yellow or a green, and it's okay. And that's really for stop and go traffic. If you are racing to get into that intersection on the yellow and it just turns red as you enter it, have you run the red? No, you ran the yellow, and that's where you're eligible for that ticket. And it's not a fun ticket. It's almost the same as running a red light. I say almost because it's a slightly different fine, but it means the same thing. So I hope that helps you. We've got Dakota, who wants to know if tinted taillights are illegal. Well, the answer is tinted taillights bad. You have to be the taillights have to be discernible at 150 meters, and that interpretation is going to be the officer who's stopping you. Additionally, and I have to stop saying additionally because my wife says I say additionally too much. But the deal is that if I'm investigating a collision where you were rear-ended and I see evidence of tinted taillights, I'm going to put that into my report. Your insurance company is going to see it, and you may be more responsible for that collision than you thought you were going to be. So stuff and things to think about. Okay. These are going quick. So, is it illegal to tint taillights? There's no specific thou shalt not tint, but it must be to the manufacturer specifications and the legal requirements under the act. Now, when we talk about headlights are absolutely illegal to tint. You cannot tint them at all. Covers, tints, not allowed. Where can motorcycles park, like on sidewalk or specifically a parking spot? Sidewalks, you cannot park on sidewalks. You're not a bicycle, but you can park in the city of Toronto, Green P street parking allows free motorcycle parking, which is freaking awesome. That's like one of the best things about being a motorcycle rider is the free parking, if I do say so myself. You're riding a motorcycle, so you're saving money on less gas and being, I think it gives you. I think motorcycling is an amazing thing. And you also get free parking. Ooh-wee. Granted, I have had my motorcycle driven into or backed into when someone was trying to parallel park beside me. That was great for like $3,000 in damage. Yeah, but it did get covered by insurance. So, So Angela, I heard the same thing. Jerry's breathing. I was trying to figure out where is this coming from. I didn't know. I guess all the levels got boosted, and no one did. Did anyone confirm that the Let's see here. Did we say that it was good? Are we good? You are cracking every few seconds. Why am I cracking? I've turned off everything. I don't hear the cracking, so I don't know why we're cracking. Maybe the cable isn't happy. I'm not sure. So I apologize for the lower sound quality today. But if it's only sound cracking, is everything else okay? Let me know. The show is. Oh. Let's see here. I need updated stuff. So skip to current time. Can't hear anything. Jerry was fine on levels. Sean's mic is low. Am I still low? Because holy moly, this used to be the daily driver. I can jump up to. I can go like this. Is this too loud? Is this okay? Is this too loud? What are we talking about here? Let me have a little check here. Audio. Okay. Show advanced options. I'm not sure what else I can do. Let me see if I can do one other thing. Stand by. I'm doing some strange Mac mixing in the background to make this all work in the setup that I'm trying to use. If that means anything. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, we're going to keep on going. I hope I'm not too low now. You are max volume, but it's fine. Okay, as long as we're good. Interesting. Okay. So here's an interesting question. And the question is, what rights and what tools can we carry as Canadian citizens to protect ourselves from being attacked from violent persons? Interesting conversation. I don't want to get too deep into this, but briefly, under the Canadian or under the Criminal Code of Canada, you can use as much force as necessary to defend yourself, but you can't carry. You can't carry obviously firearms, because you have to be a specific person, either an armed guard or a police officer, or generally those are the people that are carrying firearms with permission. Unfortunately, there are people who don't have permission to carry firearms, and then we have shootings like we had in the city last night. Can you carry weapons for the purposes of being weapons? That complicates things. Let's talk about what you should do is avoid situations. People are going to hate that because people want to have answers like, yes, you can carry pepper spray, but you can't carry pepper spray because pepper spray is not permitted unless it's dog repellent, and dog repellent or bear repellent or animal repellent is specifically for that. If you use it against a person, you can be charged for using it because you're using a noxious substance. So I don't have a good answer. Yeah, that's really where I should have started with. The fact is that you can do whatever you need to do, and you might get arrested for it, and you might have to go to trial to explain it. And that's a whole different situation. All right. We are moving along. Bill 91 propose. Yes. So, Chase, that's really what we were getting at. We sort of went off track because today didn't go anywhere near as planned as we'd hoped, but because of audio issues. Anyway, Bill 91 proposes making passing a snowplow a $150 to $1,000 fine under certain conditions. And the conditions that it is talking about is when plows are driving in formation, which makes sense. So if it would allow for passing if there was a clear open lane to pass in. So, yeah, it's still dangerous, but it's not. It wouldn't be illegal if there was a open lane. However, if you were driving off roadway to pass, which makes sense, that would be illegal. But there needs to be more. There needs to be more to hold people accountable because not many people want to follow the rules. Obviously, if they're making new rules to deal with stuff that for the last 100 years didn't have a rule, it's because we're having more issues because people are doing crazy, unsafe things. So when you have problems that are happening more frequently, you make new rules. I think it makes sense. And Akila says, greetings and salutations. I'm sorry I'm late. I'll be caught up to real time in 26 minutes. Yeah, Akila comes in and he actually he watches the feed to catch up. I appreciate what you're saying, Jason. You're absolutely correct, depending on the knife. A knife is not a weapon unless intended for or use, or has certain design characteristics. Carrying it at that point is carrying a weapon for the purposes of dangerous to public peace. Okay, so yeah, a sword, a weapon. A baton, a weapon. A box cutter could be used as a weapon, but it is not a weapon based on its design and intent of use. So yeah, a pencil could be used as a weapon. It would hurt if you stabbed someone with a pencil, not a weapon for the purposes of carrying it in your pocket protector. So you are most correct. Let's have a look. I get into the TikTok chat and see what's going on. Tracy says it's still low. No change in sound there. Really? Somewhat low, but can hear fine. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So yeah, we'll be back to different questions. Do cops have to wear steel-toe boots? That's an interesting question. Generally speaking, we do not wear steel-toe boots. In fact, like the vast majority. Some police officers who work in very specific conditions would have to, like our CVSA people who are working around heavy trucks. Interesting. I don't know why we're having sound. I have actually, that's not true. I have I figured it out. How's my volume now? How about now? I think I know what's going on. Tell me that things just got better without telling me things. I don't know. Way better. Do you know what? Yeah, that's my fault. User error was the issue. Are we good now? Is it too loud? Is it good? There you go. It's always great, like way after the live on the radio when you figure out what's going wrong. Okay, beautiful. Yeah, totally my fault. There's a dial here, and it says on air, and apparently I needed to turn that up. Oh well. No, not loose cord. User error. It's my fault. Awesome. Well, guys, remind me that if I ever run my remote gig, that it's the USB out has a volume control that I've entirely forgotten about. It's amazing. I've abandoned all this old technology that since I moved from the Zoom PodTrack P8 to the what is it called? The Rodecaster Pro 2. Yes. Oh my Lanta. I've not heard you say that in a while, Emma. Okay. Much better. Okay, well, let's move on to real life. That was embarrassing. Well, it's only embarrassing because I never looked down. Well, in fairness, the microphone is actually completely covering. How do I show you this? Let me see if I can show you exactly what I'm seeing. So, in terms of what I'm seeing, when I look down, that's what I'm seeing. Looking at the microphone, it's literally the only thing I can see. But the here I'll share with you because not that you want to see this, but you know what? At least I can say. Let's see here. This is the culprit. That's the dial. USB out. It was down to like less than half. Okay, moving back to stuff and things. That's okay. Everybody, I'm gonna. No need to scream. Now I'm too loud. All right. How about now? Are we good? Listen, I'm having fun. If nobody else is having fun, at least I am. Hey, have you ever thought about becoming a member of the Toronto Police Service? Just saying, if you're interested, we have ways of making that happen. It all starts with finding out what the minimum requirements are and then taking some action. Go to www.tps.ca/careers for all the information you ever wanted to know and more about how to join. We are hiring for police officers, parking enforcement officers, actually, I shouldn't say that. We do hire for those. And I think we're possibly in a break for taking applications for some of them. But it's a great time to start talking to a recruiting officer because while we have positions that post on a regular basis, like various, there was about 6 or 8 civilian positions if you're not looking to become a uniform member, and then get your stuff together, research it now so that when there is a posting, you will be able to be in a position to press send because you can start an electronic account where you upload all your documents and hit go. When you're ready to go, you hit go. If you can meet the qualifications today, then that's the time you should be applying. People often say, well, should I finish my degree? Degrees are good, but we may not be hiring when you have a degree completed. Not suggesting you should do anything other than make magical studies, but, depends on how bad you want what you want. Okay. Now that I've taken my audio up and taken it down and moved it around, are we still happy with the audio? I hope we are. Okay. What do we have here? My friend's G2 expired and he has to start from G1 all over again. Does he have to wait again? Why does he have to start all over again? Have you been told this or are you making an assumption that you have to start again? Because if the G2 expired within a certain period of time, I don't think you have to start again. And I think you do owe the full year. So talk to the ministry. It depends if it's been more than 3 years or more than 10 years, they may not allow the experience to count. But if you're within a certain period of time, they should still give you the credit. But they are their own thing. So, yeah. We can all turn our phones down from the max now. Awesome. Okay. Yes, questions. You've got traffic and police questions. I know it doesn't say traffic services, but it does say ask a traffic cop on the screen. So this is the hint that I am, in fact, a police officer with the Toronto Police Service who talks about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff. And if you have questions, this is the place to be to answer them or ask them so I can answer them. Usually. Boy, the radio show stuff I had some out of completely off the wall questions, at least from where we normally go. like not that the tractor trailer one, the Brampton. These are all new, and it's good because they're challenging. I had to think about them because there was no real fantastic, perfect answer. What do I have here? There was something I wanted to share something with you. So, aside from the fact that the responses, if you haven't already seen the videos about the stunt driving left turn, and if you haven't seen the video about the it was the April Fool's video with the video camera that is not a traffic enforcement camera, the comments are amazing because the overwhelming majority of negative comments. Not that there was of the comments. There's a lot of people who are have hurt feelings. They have big feelings. They don't like the fact that they're going to be held accountable for the things they do, which is amazing to me. Like the concept of do the crime, do the time. No. If you're going to speed, if you're going to break the law, you may very well get caught. It's the risk you take. And then there are people who don't like that. They don't think they should be able to do what they want to do. And it's just really funny. One person, what was their comment? Let me see. I think I took a screen capture of it. They said, "Wow, happy I only have a DUI and not a stunt driving charge," because that is amazing. That when you've got a flex that you're only an impaired driver, which is gross, right? Like but at least they're not a stunt driver. That's wow. Okay, we talked about that, and yeah, boy, I wonder if it's the audio that because we got a chill group. We only got 25. What does this icon mean? Send a rose to get shown. I'm not sending a rose to myself. That's just wild. How many people actually, for those who are watching and hanging out, how many actually send gifts to hosts, to TikTokers or YouTubers? When we started, we used to get a lot of them, and we had to turn it off. And I'm thankful for it because it was awkward getting, people sending stuff. I appreciated it. It was very kind as a gesture. But what do you think? Is that something that is common? Do people send you stuff? Do you send people stuff? Is that just part of the ecosystem? I'm not used to it. I've never sent anybody anything. I don't even have a credit card associated to any of these apps. Okay. Maybe restart the live. I think if I do that, I think it'll mess up other things. So we'll just keep on chugging. We'll just have a little more relaxed thing, or maybe everyone in the room can share with the people and like it. And I'm busy liking the live. Good. If it's going up, it's because I'm liking it. Hopefully, there's no rules against that. Okay. Yes, Tracy, something to be proud of, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, so why don't they get bike riders to hold a pedal bike permit in which they get? Okay, so Richard wants to know about why they don't have. Oh, there we go. So, why don't they get bike riders to hold a pedal bike permit in which to get? They must learn the Highway Traffic Act. I assume that's what you're going. I've suggested it, and I've had some people who get very, very upset at the concept of creating a boundary or some level of hurdle to getting into what should be the most accessible mode of transportation. And I can appreciate that to some degree. And maybe in places outside of the city of Toronto, I would agree that you shouldn't, in the suburbs, you shouldn't need a permit to ride because it's the suburbs, the burbs, not the subs. And in the city, though, it's a different animal. It's a dangerous place. And I think that it makes sense to have a permit or a license or insurance or a lot of things. It shouldn't be that someone who does not understand the road simply uses it and then gets hurt. And then we can't say it's their fault because they're a cyclist or a pedestrian or a skateboarder, or it's not always the driver's fault. Sometimes it is, and I'm not defending drivers who hurt people. But if it's not because of the driver's action, and it is because of the other person's reaction, and it could have been prevented by simply having them understand the rules of the road or take precautions, or just saying, boy, it's going to be unpopular if people see that. But I say it all the time. It's not like it's news. Just makes cyclists angry. Okay. Driving on university property, okay, got T-boned. Police wouldn't show unless injured. Normal. Yes. So, regardless of you were driving on a university's property or on, I'm assuming you're on private property. Private property or on the road wouldn't make a difference if you are not being transferred to hospital by ambulance and there's no criminality. Police don't attend collisions. They just don't. It's referred to a collision reporting center. So that is because there is more happening with less people, and there's other avenues to deal with low priority stuff. If we're available, it's possible to have one sent. But generally speaking, we're tied up doing other stuff because we are doing a whole bunch of stuff. There's no free time. I shouldn't say it. There's a lunch break, but there's no free time. So if you are involved in motor vehicle collision and it is minor in nature, if it's not involving hitting property like a building or if you hit a cyclist, though, we attend as long as they stay on scene. So if you leave the scene, then you go to a collision reporting center. If you stay on scene, then we'll attend. I see we lost JD. I don't know what happened. May have had some technical issues of his own. He's had some issues with his computer just going. Eh. I think it's exactly the sound that made it. So it's not just injury; it's injury where persons are transported to the hospital by ambulance. Actually, if you want more information, do I have a link for it? tps.ca, and under it'll ask. There's a tab for collisions. Okay, talked about that. What is this? Super chats are the only way to be recognized on channels that have over 50,000 subscribers. Really? I don't watch enough of this stuff, apparently. What is this? You have your I have your QR code top right. It is top right for you. I'm looking at it a lot, but it's top right. Think about that for a sec. The QR code takes you to my link to trafficcop.ca, to my link tree. That's it. Okay, question is, if you have a disability parking permit, do you have to pay for the metered parking on the side of the road, Green P? No, you do not have to, which is a nice benefit for those who are who need to park close by and for access to access. So you don't have to park within the Green P. You can park in a no parking zone as long as you're not violating anything else. So they can park anywhere that's no parking as long as they stay, I think it's 9 meters from the intersection. I say 9 meters because I think that's what I was within when I got my ticket. I have a disability permit and was not having a good walking day. So that's the deal. You don't have to pay. But you can also park in other areas. Let's say if there was no spots available, you can still park if it says no parking. You can't park in no stopping or no standing zones, though. Okay. Talking about motorcycles, I miss mine, and it's not far away. It's something I'm not currently riding. I've made a decision not to ride right now, and it's a tough decision, and it's a decision based on me wanting to ensure that I am safe for my family. I really want to ride, but I recognize that if something happens to me, that's a major issue for my family. So I've made a conscious decision, although I have not actually canceled the insurance on it. It's been on. I haven't ridden since 2017, and JD said his computer froze. See, it did that. That's what I said. It was doing so it froze. He had to reboot. Oh, very good point. Thank you for bringing it up, Akela. Accessibility or accessible parking differs based on municipality. So I say that you don't have to pay in the Green P. That's specific to the city of Toronto. When I went to Ottawa, I had to look it up, and they do have the same deal, but you need to look it up because every municipality is different. Okay. I'm really curious now. Let's see here. Dogs and Pugs, hello. You've been waiting for ages for me to go live. I go live all the time, but Dogs and Pugs is a friend. We've actually met in person. Yes, it's like we go way back now. But I'm glad you were able to catch the live stream, and you have it with that sunny. I don't even know what's behind in this picture that is not actually where I live or work. But I would live and work here. That looks like a nice place to be. Is it a condo? I can't tell. I want to believe this is a swimming pool. I think actually if I move, yeah, I think that's a swimming pool. I can't tell. I need a different background. I definitely need a different background. Harley, 1 in 7,000 odds. Thank you very much for once again being the hero of the Harley draw. Can I pull this up? Let's see. If I move this here, move that there. Harley raffle. Hang on, I'm doing this. I am totally chilling out today in terms of I'm not going to stress out about live stream where it is not necessarily perfect, because today was a bit of a rocky start. It was a rocky start because for those who have been here since the beginning of the show today, they know that my audio was not good, and I'm just going to roll with it. All right, let's see if I can share my screen. Google Chrome would like to record. Okay. What do I have to do to say yes? Apparently I have to do this. I have to use my password to give it authorization to share my screen? No, I'm not quitting and reopening. Apparently I can't show you my screen. Oh well, harleyraffle.ca, because this is not working. harleyraffle.ca, where you can buy tickets to possibly win a Harley-Davidson motorcycle, but more importantly, support the fine folks at Special Olympics Ontario. And yes, as Kayla mentions, it was Jeff Northrup's favorite charity because his child is a Special Olympian, from my understanding. So you can help fund an amazing charity and increase your odds of winning a Harley, while also being recognized as being a magical human. We say it. Tell me about it online. We'll call you a magical human on the show. Okay. If you're watching, you don't know who I am. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police officer who forgot to turn up his volume this morning, but I work at traffic safety programs at Traffic Services, which is the citywide traffic unit for the Toronto Police Service. We investigate everything from collisions to fatal. Well, they're all still fatal collisions. We handle things like enforcement, and that's important because it's all tied into traffic safety. We also have specialty groups like the Recon Office that are part of the investigative team. They do the physical reconstruction, the electronic stuff, the measuring and mapping, because they really have to delve into the fine details of a collision. It's not just like, yeah, that person hit that. No, they map things out. They have great technology. They have drones. They do fun stuff. And then they have the motor squad who handles dignitary escorts as well as enforcement. We have a lot of different talented people in our building. We do. Okay. And okay. I don't know how to pronounce that. Akela knew Jeff, and he had a name for him, and I don't know that name. But I'll put it on screen. Bagheera? Is that how you pronounce that? Okay. I don't have Volley up, but I should check Volley to see what's going on there. Volley is going away as of April 30th. We're now doing the Discord thing. And I say doing it because we haven't really been doing it. We have not moved over. Okay. Oh, Kepner Caliso said people are complaining voices low, but this is a while ago. Michael sending a Volley right now. Do I even have Volley? Do I have the Volley app here? Oh, it's more sadness as I realize that the Volley app is something I'll have to delete eventually. But right now I can open it. Opening it on screen. And it's not working. It's thinking about it a lot. I'm canceling it. Well, some days are just not for technology to cooperate, and other days it does great. But we keep on moving. All right. Oh, Michael says good morning. Good morning to you. We've been having some great conversations online about various things. We've had some discussions because not everybody likes certain language. I talk about Vision Zero, and I also say that traffic safety is a shared responsibility, and that drives some people crazy. So I want to know what you think. Do you think that vision that traffic safety is a shared responsibility? And let me frame it in the way that I talk about it, because I'm curious if you agree with me. I think that everybody, from the moment they wake up to the moment they go to bed, should have safety in mind. I think that if you walk around without safety on your mind, unsafe things happen. I don't know if that's really the way to say it, but if you're not paying attention, you might get hurt. So in some way, you should always be actively involved with safety. If you're going to ride a bicycle, you should put a helmet on. If you're going to drive a car, you should wear your seatbelt. You should look where you're going. You should maintain the speed limits. You should follow the laws, the rules of the road. But some people will say that that is language that unfairly. Oh, hey, look at this. We have someone jumping in. Hold on a second. Hello. Oh, I have to turn this up. Now we got you. Can you hear me? I hear you. Well, you're not saying anything, but I hear the
Can you hear me, Sean?
Oh, yes.
I can't hear you. Let me just see what I can do here. I'll be back in just 1 second.
Okay. Well, apparently nobody has technology that works today. I'm glad that I can laugh about it. Anyway, what was I saying? I was saying that, so I think that people are offended by the language. Oh, we're back. We don't see you, but we hear you. I'm going to put you in the background because he may think that we can't hear him, but we can hear him, and I want to save him from the potential. So we can see you, and we'll bring you back. Can we hear you? Can you hear us?
And I can hear you now as well.
What changed?
I had the settings wrong.
Well, you know what? It's oh, there we go. I got to tell you, I had a series of incorrect settings today. As it turns out, and I took a picture of it. So I can share it. You see where it says USB volume or USB out?
Yep.
Apparently, you need to turn that up so people can hear you. It was too low. So I was on the radio a little too low, and when I looked down, the microphone covers that. So I was touching every dial but that. Anyway, some days go smooth and some days don't. Do you have any dad jokes?
I don't actually.
What?
I don't. Yeah, I did send a few to you the other night, and they were actually really good. They were funny.
Wait, was that by text?
It could have been, yes.
Let's have a look.
Good morning, Kayla. Yes, I think we both go to the same barber, apparently.
No, did I shared this with you? But I was sent this ad campaign from Alberta. Aiming.
I agree.
I think that's hilarious.
Yep, I totally agree.
Oh, the Grinch. Good morning to you.
So yesterday I was out doing some traffic training. We have new special constables that are employed by the City of Toronto that are going to be assisting with the flow of traffic. We have so many intersections that people are always in a rush, and they always want to enter but can't clear. So when you can't clear an intersection, these traffic wardens are not going to allow you to enter the intersection, because when the light goes red and you can't get out of it, the cross traffic can't get across. So doing that training yesterday, I got to chat with a bunch of people and see a bunch of people, even while we were there, dressed in a high visibility, looking down, looking at their crotch, not paying attention to pedestrians, cyclists, or anybody else that was out there, including me that was standing in the middle of the intersection. So
it's funny. I'm glad that you popped in, because there's a bunch of things we talked about with Jerry today that are great questions that I think we could discuss and get different. I'd like your perspective on. Apparently, in John Moore's neighborhood, there is a 2-lane, 1 lane in each direction, stop sign controlled environment. And when people it gets backed up at the stop sign, people are driving into oncoming traffic to make the left turn if they don't have to go straight. So what charge would be the best charge? Because there's no left of center.
No, there isn't a left of center. But if you were to impede the flow of traffic, what happens when there's oncoming traffic?
Well, they're suggesting in this scenario, they were suggesting there's no oncoming traffic.
Well, what happens when there is oncoming traffic because that person on the intersecting highway makes a right turn and all of a sudden can't, and you become bumper to bumper with them? I see the risk there. Charges, well, would depend on the situation and what happens. Pedestrians are not expecting 2 lanes of traffic to go through. It's not a one-way street. You have to leave the available flow for 2 directions. So I don't know. I don't know what the best charge it would. I would have to see the intersection.
Yeah, I basically said that it depends on the observations of the officer and what's going on. But it is very interesting.
An improper turn would be appropriate in certain circumstances, which is $110 and 2 points.
Oh, that's actually a very good point. Improper turn, yeah.
But it all depends on the circumstances, and I would have to be able to articulate in court why that charge was appropriate.
I understood there was a section that said drive into oncoming traffic or oncoming side of roadway. And now I'm looking at the definition for stunned, and it actually says driving two or more motor vehicles side by side or in proximity to another, where one of the motor vehicles occupies a lane of traffic other than the portion of the highway intended for use by oncoming traffic for a period of time that is longer than reasonably required to pass another motor vehicle. So that wouldn't apply. I thought that could have applied, and then because the short form really didn't go into that kind of detail. So you gotta read a lot of stuff to really pull it all out and figure out what's applicable. So stunt out of the question. I said maybe it was stunt, but no.
And an awful lot of times we don't have that information right away at the side of the road. We may lay a charge that is inappropriate, and that is up for the prosecutor or the justice of the peace to identify that and say, no, that it wasn't appropriate, and then would dismiss the charge. I can tell you that I don't know of any police officer that would lay a charge that they didn't honestly believe was the appropriate one, but sometimes we do get wrong.
JD says unsafe move might be appropriate.
Yeah, could be, but you have to be able to prove that it is unsafe. So if there happens to be a pedestrian, or if there happens to be somebody turning, or an oncoming car, then yes.
But improper would work.
It has to be that situation.
I'm adjusting my lighting. I feel like I'm getting a tan. Made it a little.
That's okay. It's almost like the sun is shining right here.
Yes.
By the way, folks, this is my office. I normally come and sit in Sean's office. Sorry. I normally come and sit in Sean's office. Too many S's. But today, this is my office. So
I'm glad it's not just me today. So it's good. Oh my goodness. All right. Marcus wants to know. Because, or I should say, he got into a debate with other TikTokers okay, here we go, putting it on screen. He got into a debate with other TikTokers, is going 90 kilometers an hour in a 100 kilometer an hour zone, impeding traffic. If you're in the right lane, I don't have an issue with it. The speed limit is the limit, not the minimum. It's the maximum. So 90 kilometers an hour would be legal in a 100 kilometer an hour zone as long as you're not in the passing lane. I don't think that you can bully anybody into doing exactly the speed you want them to do. Because one of the guys made a comment yesterday on one of the videos saying that he gets people who are tailgating him because he's doing the speed limit and he's in the right lane. Well, we have tailgaters, and that's an offense, and that's going to happen, and they will eventually pass you. But no, it's not against the law to go 90 to 100.
And you know what? Depending on the circumstances, 90 may be the appropriate speed to be traveling at for everybody.
So it's not impeding traffic. So how about this? It's definitely not impeding traffic. There is a charge called unnecessary slow driving, and one of the things you have to be doing in order to qualify for that charge is you must be impeding traffic. So it's two separate things. It wouldn't qualify. Like if it's raining, young drivers teaches to reduce your speed by a minimum of 10 kilometers an hour. If it's snowing, you might not be going more than 50 kilometers an hour on a highway that's empty because it's not safe to go beyond that. So it all depends on the conditions, but nowhere does it say you must always do 1 99 to 101 kilometers an hour. There's nothing that says that. It says there's a maximum, and that's it.
Sean, I use the technology in my vehicle when I'm driving. If I know or hear that there may be a hazard up ahead, using one of these apps, I may slow down to 90 before I even approach that hazard. If there's a car on the shoulder, an emergency vehicle, absolutely, and it would be totally appropriate.
Mm-hmm. Here's an interesting question from the Grinch. A question I saw a modified bicycle with a small gas engine on it. Does it require a license? It really drives people crazy because the people selling these things will tell their customers that if it's 49cc, that it's legal for the road, and they are absolutely lying to everybody. A motor vehicle, it is a motor vehicle. It is a motor vehicle. It requires license, ownership, and insurance, and not just license, a motorcycle license. Now, why the comeback or the response is usually, well, e-bikes are legal and they don't go fast. They're both the same thing, except one has legislation that specifically says an e-bike is treated as a bicycle if it meets a certain number of criteria. One of them is be electric, have a maximum 500 watt motor, have a maximum speed limited to 32 kilometers an hour on a flat surface, and not be more than 120 kilos. Well, it's great that it may do all of those things, but it has the one major problem. It's not electric.
Yep. It is a motorcycle. It is a motor vehicle through and through. The charge for no insurance, $5,000 right off the bat. I did have a conversation. I had a conversation yesterday with a gentleman that was an Uber Eats driver. Just bought it yesterday. Yep. No license, no insurance, no permit, no license plate, nothing. Thought it was okay, 49 cc's.
Get out.
He ended up, he was about 5 kilometers away from his house. He was pushing it the entire way home. Because the option is you get it towed and we take it to the impound yard and you get a whole bunch of tickets.
It's bad.
Yep.
But I've stopped many people, even just to educate, because I've been off duty and had a friendly conversation. And most people had no idea. They didn't intend to break the law, but they did. And unfortunately, you're still responsible for it. What do they say? Ignorance of the law is not a defense?
Yep, absolutely.
With hands-free options, I don't get it with the phones. I don't understand why anybody's touching their phone either. And not only hands-free, dictation. You can just have a conversation with your phone now, and it's not like it used to be. Used to be you had to make like 4 or 5 audio samples for every telephone entry you had. If you wanted to call your mom, you had to say mom 16 times, and then you trained it. Yeah, no longer the issue. It works so beautifully. Now, it is a distraction to use that, but it doesn't qualify under the law for being a distraction. Yeah. Radix wants to know, he's on Instagram, and I've totally been ignoring him. Is it an offense? I can't speak. Is it an offense not to pull over immediately for the police officer? And the answer is that you are required when police initiate a traffic stop by turning on their lights and sirens to stop immediately or as soon as practical. It has to be like within a reasonable amount of space to start pulling over and come to a stop. If you don't do that, if you accelerate and drive away, it's a problem.
I'm going to tell you that most police officers will time the events that they're going to pull a car over. They're going to wait for a good spot, a safe spot, the most safest spot before they pull somebody over. And the moment the lights come on, you should be aware of that. And even if you can't get over, put your turn signal on and start slowing down. Show them that you have an intention to pull over and that you're not trying to flee. Trying to flee is a bit of a problem.
It's a big problem.
Yeah.
We start phoning friends. It's a problem.
Yeah.
Here is a question. Adam wants to know what your thoughts are on minimum speed limits similar to Quebec. There are certain stretches I think that have posted limits, and I think York Region has a few places. I think Highway 7 at one point had a posted minimum. I think it's great because it removes the question of what's reasonable. It's stated right there in black and white. I would totally support signage everywhere that had it, or a standard, that was announced, because then it's not subjective, and then people can stop complaining.
Yep, I agree. Totally agree.
So I like it. Legalities around having your dog ride in a sidecar or on your motorcycle sidecar. Sorry, dog ride in the motorcycle specifically. Okay. Are there any legalities to having a dog in a motorcycle sidecar? Is it a load? Is it securement issues? Like if the dog becomes
So if your dog comes out or has the opportunity to jump out, absolutely it would be. A dog isn't a human being, even though sometimes we think they qualify as such, but it would be a load. It would be something that you're conveying across. Secure your dog, probably because you love your dog, and it should be secured so that they can't get hurt if they jump out while you're moving. Even if you have the best well-trained dog, should something happen, maybe even not your fault, the dog may decide to get scared and run out into traffic. We don't want that.
Sure. I mean, there's motorcycles are a different situation altogether. You want your dog tethered to keep them inside the vehicle, and I can understand an argument not to have them tethered so they don't get stuck in the vehicle in a collision. But it is that balance of what the best thing to do is for most circumstances, and tethering would be the right thing to do. We have a question for: do you pull over for tint? And the answer is yeah. Illegal tint. There was a car. I went to pick up my kids from school yesterday, and there was a Lexus with not only a tint strip that was not properly installed, so he did it himself because of giant air bubbles, but the tint was so dark that on a bright day you couldn't see anything. It was like an opaque window. I would pull that person's license plates, and I was telling my kids that on the walk home, going, I would take their license plates, and they were like, I know, Daddy, because you tell us that every time. And I'm like, yeah, because they know the HDA like no other. But yeah, I absolutely pull people over for tints because it's unsafe. It's not just because I'm adverse to letting people pick their noses in private. It's about making it safe. We need to be able to see you, and you need to be able to see us. It's a two-way window.
Literally,
street. Yeah,
two-way window.
Yeah. I saw somebody a video yesterday that I think I'm going to have to stitch and respond because he was looking for a response. But then I realized that the username was one that I've already responded to. He bought a new car, and he's gone and cambered his tires already, and he's got tints that look reflective. Like it is it's a vehicle that I'd pull over every time I see it, and that just like the last one he put up. So very nice looking, just not very legal. Let's see here. I hurt my hand. Okay. I hurt my hand and it's been in a cast or in a splint for the past month. I've been told that I shouldn't drive, and I've been told that there's no rules, so I can drive. I would like to know if I can or can't. If you don't have a suspension from your doctor, you're not prohibited. However, if you cannot safely operate your motor vehicle, you could be charged.
Can you imagine the lawsuit after being told you should not drive and you become involved in a collision, even if it's not your fault? Somebody has told you it's not safe to drive, probably your doctor, and it happens. I would not want to be a lawyer defending you after doing that.
Well, because they do these things where they order your records, your medical records, and oddly enough, doctors write everything down. I've had conversations that I thought were just casual conversations with my doctor and found out later that it was in his journal.
You know what? Just because it isn't illegal doesn't mean it's the smartest thing to do.
Yeah. I've heard some wild stories of people who had like full leg casts that were driving with a leg on the opposite side, like just because they did it. They weren't told they couldn't, but not a good idea. What is this? There's a guy who rides around with his shepherd who wears a helmet and goggles. You know what? It's actually a good idea for them to wear a helmet. Well, that's the helmet. I mean, but the goggles and their noses need to be covered. Animals that are sticking their head into the wind dry out their noses. Apparently, very unhealthy. This was a veterinarian friend said it. And same thing, their eyes. You want to protect them. I wear eye protection when I ride a motorcycle.
You know what, Sean? I even on my jet ski, I wear eye protection. I have a fairly fast jet ski. They can go over 70 miles an hour.
Wow.
I wear safety glasses on it because if you've ever come in contact with a June bug at 70 miles an hour, it can leave a good size welt. If that happens to happen to your face or your eye, I would imagine you wouldn't have an eye anymore. So
I was going to say you'd probably obliterate it.
Yep.
Well,
so you know what? If you're traveling at 100 kilometers an hour on a motorcycle and your dog is in there and a bee comes up and or a June bug or something like that hits your dog is certainly going to freak out.
Oh yeah, I know wearing a visor while riding, I've had bees explode and have hit them or been hit on. I've made contact with them on my legs or knees. They hurt like hell. So, Mere Q wants to know: are blue tints allowed as long as I can see clearly from the inside? It's not about what you can see clearly; it's about how much light is transmitted through them. So, if it's possible for us to see, identify, and to see inside, you're not obscuring the interior more so than any other kind of shade. But it has to be visible, and if you are not restricting the light more than 30% light blockage, so 70% is getting through, then you're safe for the road according to the inspection. So color aside, as long as we can see in and it meets the minimum requirements.
Sean, there's a follow-up question there that says, are reflective tints allowed?
Well, reflective tints do not allow people to see inside, and that would be obscuring. It actually specifically says that the charges for having a color or reflective coating that obscures the interior of the vehicle. So no, reflective would not be allowed.
Just a little add-on to that before you move on, Sean. Tinted license plate covers.
Ooh.
Not only are they not allowed, but they also change the look of your license plate. So if we have a white background and you are putting a blue tinted cover or a red tinted cover, it may make the license plate look like it is a different license plate. Our red background, white lettered ones are for diplomats, both provincial and federal diplomats. The different colors, yellow is for repair and service plates. So if you change the color of your plate, you are confusing the identity of the plate and what you're allowed to do with that plate. So not only would you get one for covering it, but you get one, and I believe it's a no-set fine for the confused identity of the plate.
Sorry, I'm reading as people commented earlier when I think you said something. They all found it very funny. But going back to yes,
I might have said something.
You may have said something. So absolutely. To clarify, the whole thing is you cannot cover your plate with any color, clear cover. You cannot have a frame. Nothing can be on above the license plate or blocking any portion of it. But if you have a colored version of the plate, it may also be confused identity, which is a separate charge altogether. Let's see here. I started giggling as I read as I saw some of the reaction. But there was a question about the add-on from Tracy was nothing is permitted on the windshield. Always good to add on that while you can have tint on the windows in the back of the vehicle, rear passenger beyond, that's okay. The windows to left and right immediately left and right of the driver are the ones that are dealing with the charges that we were discussing. And of course, nothing can be on the windshield. Save and except for vehicles manufactured before 2017, they can have up to 75 millimeters of tint across the top. But I don't understand why anyone does that. I don't get it. 70 on a jet ski is stunt driving.
You know what? 70 miles an hour is very, very fast on a jet ski. As long as you are in the proper area, out in the middle of the lake with no other hazards around, it's lawful.
I know nothing. I took the pleasure craft operator's card 20 years ago. I remember nothing. I would take that again just to re-up my knowledge.
Yeah, boating can be dangerous, just like driving. So, good skill level and good experience is always good for both.
I just confused things.
Whoa. What happened?
Yeah. Well, I just realized that as I'm reading the chat, I'm staring off camera, or off screen. So I figured I'd stare on screen and make it look like a little more natural.
There we go.
How are we doing for time? We got 8 minutes. I'm busy working on a video and for training purposes. So I've been doing a lot of different things, and we have a dad. So I got to go back to doing that. So I can't go late today. Okay, this is actually very good. Dad joke. Police were called to the daycare for an unruly toddler. They were charged with resisting Arrest.
Arrest?
Arrest. I like that.
Where's your button?
It's not here. It's on my desk there. If you can press it, please. Let's see what's going on in the chat here. Emma says, you're quite the dude. Jet skis and ATVs.
Yeah, I do have an issue with toys. I have a few of them. Boats, snowmobiles, motorcycles, cars.
Yes. Tracy says she looked away for 1 minute and you guys jumped around. Okay. We threw her for a loop. This is we had the issues in the beginning of the live, and I think that's what allowed us to have a small chill group. We've got 35 people on TikTok, which is lower than we normally have, but we really appreciate that you come out and hang out with us and ask us questions. We have a bunch of people that are coming directly in. We even had someone scan the barcode. When you scan the barcode, it actually says you scan the barcode, which I think is pretty funky.
What does the barcode do, Sean?
When you let me go to the barcode. Oh wait, can I go to the barcode? I'm trying to. Hold on, drop my phone. When you go to the barcode, I have to put one in a different area on the screen. So if I put one here, oops, wrong one. Here, if I put one here and scan it, it has a link that takes you to my link tree, and then it announces to the world that someone scanned your barcode. It's just making life easy, so you can find us on all the socials. Okay. Now, I didn't mention this earlier, but I don't think we're going to have any other lives this week. What am I doing here? Because we got the long weekend, we got the Easter and Passover and everything going on. I think this is it. We won't be back until Tuesday. I hadn't really thought of that until just this very moment. So, yeah.
You're not on tomorrow?
I might be on tomorrow. I'm not sure I'm on tomorrow yet. I'm fingers crossed, hoping for on tomorrow.
Yep. I have a meeting offsite tomorrow. I get to have a first look at a new computer program that the Toronto Police has actually developed themselves. So it's for tracking all the impounded vehicles that we do. Sean, did you know we impound 31,000 vehicles last year?
Really? 30? That's a lot.
That is a lot. Parking offenses, crashes, legislated tows, like if you're stunt driving or impaired driving, 31,000 the Toronto Police has moved.
I'm just thinking about the towing and impound fees for that must be intense.
Well, we are very lucky the way we've set it up in the city of Toronto that the towing and impound fees are reasonable. The towing and impounding is done by independent companies, but they bid on the ability to come and tow for us. And we set the criteria of what their maximum rates can be. And so they're quite reasonable compared to some surrounding jurisdictions where they are completely unreasonable.
Yes. So basically, know your tow before you agree to be hooked up with anybody in a towing situation. Make sure you ask the question. And you want what other kind of advice can we give to people who are getting tow trucks?
So make sure that you have an invoice already filled out and you sign it before you let them even touch your car. Know what you're going to have to pay at the end before you let them hook up the car. They will promise you anything, certain tow providers, and in the end, you will end up paying an awful lot more. We have a really good bunch of contracted tow providers. They are good people, and they're there to help us and help you.
Awesome. We have a question. Can a 7-year-old be my motorcycle passenger? There's no age restriction for passengers. However, the passenger must be able to touch the floorboards or rear passenger pegs, and obviously be wearing a helmet that is properly sized for them and regulated.
And they have to be able to hold themselves onto the motorcycle as well. They must be physically capable of doing that.
Yeah. I actually have my own personal threshold, which is I have to be comfortable knowing that they will do it. It's one thing to be able to say that they're capable of holding on, but I have to be confident that they are going to be a good passenger, not freak out, not lean the opposite direction, and certainly not fall off, because that not only would it be a bad day at the office trying to explain to mom or whomever their person is why you hurt them, because you're going to be responsible regardless, right? It's what a fun thing may turn bad very quickly. So, responsible young person. A police officer pulled me over and said, "Papers." I said, "Scissors." I win, and drove off. He must have wanted a rematch because he's been chasing me for 45 minutes. Very nice.
I like it.
I do too. Richard says, "Happy long weekend, everybody." Kayla says, "Stay safe. Remember, don't have a good long weekend. Have a great long weekend." Because he took tomorrow off. Well, very, very, very good. Oh, there's a question in the mix of the goodbyes. In a parking lot, are you legally obligated to stop at a stop sign? So there's can you be given a ticket for not stopping in a parking lot? Depends on the parking lot, because there's a couple that you would be. See, I remember when you say stuff. Generally speaking, private property is no, but there's a couple like at the Metrolinx parking lots that have their own act that is enforceable. So don't. Here's the deal. Never mind if you could get a ticket or not. You're still going to be responsible for the collision you cause. So just be safe, and being safe includes stopping for stop signs.
Yeah, I was unaware of the Metrolinx Act, and it does have traffic infractions within there, and they can write you a ticket for it. It's quite a pricey ticket, and that is for parking and signs in there as well. So TTC lots, I believe, are the same things. I'm not sure about a stop sign specifically, but they have their own act that they can write tickets on.
For TTC, I know they enforce a whole bunch of things for on their private property for their employees. I wonder if they do that for everybody.
I believe so. I believe it's in their public parking lots as well.
Interesting. Well, they even have speed limits and speed cameras. They have their own photo radar on their. When we went to do a presentation or it was a kickoff for MAD, and they have signage that says they do like a enforcement. It's all captured by camera. I wouldn't want to mess with them.
Yeah, you know what? Good for them. That keeps their property safe and the people on them safe and their employees safe. And
that's really what all of the traffic laws are after. Like the reason these things exist. Someone was challenging me online about it's always the same thing. Oh, you guys are communists and you're and tax collectors. That's what the suggestion is, because of stunt driving charges. They don't like this concept of having such high potential consequences. And I said simply, it's common sense stuff. It's about safety, and you don't have to pay if you don't break the law.
Yep.
So simple. We're only collecting taxes from people who are choosing to make donations. So it's not taxes.
I see in there, Richard had said the Yorkdale is ticketable. Certain portions of Yorkdale have a road running through it, and it is a road. But on the private property, it is not ticketable.
So speaking of roads, I was having a conversation afterwards, and yesterday on the live we said that High Park may not be a proper road, but I have to figure out whether or not, because there's a belief that it is from some people, that it is a proper road that runs between two major things, and I don't know, so I don't know who to phone. I want to phone a friend, another friend, because now we don't know who's.
Same situation is within the CNE grounds. We have stop signs, we have traffic lights, we have everything, but
true.
They are not proper roads, even though they may appear to be. And once again, there's a own set of bylaw tickets for, say, failing to stop at the red light or stuff like that. And it would not be the Highway Traffic Act.
It's fascinating stuff, and stuff people didn't know or don't know. And what is this? I'm glad the HTA was expanded for stunt driving in parking lots. I am too. And for good reason. It's a problem. It's a problem. All right, I've got to get back to video editing, and you got stuff and things to do too. But thanks for jumping in. You saved me because we were spitting out. It was good. It's good to have you on. Of course, you got to come on after we figured out what the volume control was. So that's cool. Possibly tomorrow, but definitely Tuesday we'll be back. But if you go and follow us on Twitter, we'll announce when the next show is. So you get actually on all the platforms we'll announce. I think. Yeah, except TikTok. We don't actually announce it on TikTok. Maybe we should start, because now you can do pictures.
Oh, all right.
They added a feature. You can do pictures. I don't know why. All these great videos, and then someone goes, There's a picture. I'll get it. All right. No
And
music.
I promise the next time I come, I will get my tongue working again.
Mine was.
And,
You got nothing to apologize for. I was way off. I was way off today. It wasn't working. What does this button do? I'm playing some background music as we say goodbye. It's not very good. Okay. That's it. We'll catch you later. I'm ending the stream. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you when we come back. And hang out for a second, Sarge. I'll end the stream, but you can stick around.